What is up, Ramley? What is up, you guys? So we didn't have a first round pick. We had Jalen Ramsey, which is just better. But we have to look at the rest of the division and see how they did. And I just want to put my opinion out there. So, I mean, we already knew some of these picks were gonna be the picks that they're gonna be. You know, New York ended up getting a tackle, which is kind of surprising because they needed a linebacker. They still needed edge rushers. They need a defense. The offense is fairly okay. It's just that their defense is kind of trash. So I thought they would have gotten Isaiah Simmons, but that did not happen. Isaiah Simmons fell down to the Arizona Cardinals, a linebacker / safety hybrid who can do pretty much a little bit of everything. And to me, this was an A+ draft pick by the Cardinals. Their defense has struggled. I mean, they're pretty good against the run, but in pass coverage, they were one of the worst teams in pass coverage last year, and I think the year before that as well. And they haven't had a linebacker to really scare you recently, so this one fills in a really good need for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not sure how much hype I can give these guys. I just think that they've done fairly well so far in the offseason. They have a quarterback that can make some plays, even though he's a mobile guy. But I still think their offensive line's going to need some work. If I was the Arizona Cardinals, I would fix up the offensive line as best as I can starting now. You already have weapons. You need an offensive line. Your defense, you need some defenders, but you got one of the best versatile guys that's going to help you big time. They were one of the worst, pass coverage teams last year, which will probably cut that in half with having this guy in the inside linebacker position. So Isaiah Simmons was, to me, an A+ draft pick for the Arizona Cardinals. And, it can't get any better than that, especially when your team isn't that good on defense. Now, then you started seeing all these players getting picked up, and it gave the San Francisco 49ers the opportunity to get one of the best, if not the best, wide receivers in the draft. They decided to go to defensive tackle first. I'm guessing because of Buckner leaving to the Colts, they decided to go defensive tackle. And Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina, he's a really good defensive tackle, don't get me wrong. But I still feel like this is a reach, especially at 14, when they could have gotten to someone as a wide receiver that was way better. Possibly one of the best picks of this draft. Like in the future, if Jerry Jeudy ends up being like a Mike Thomas type of Pro Bowler, or what's the dude's name? Basically a way better version of Emmanuel Sanders, then that would have been a good pick for them. But they decided to go defensive tackle, and I think they just don't want to lose a step in the pass rushing ability, and they went a cheaper option. That might be a good thing, but I just feel like it was a reach. I don't feel like they could have literally taken the best wide receiver, and they end up going wide receiver after that. So they ended up going, I don't even know the guy's name, but his Arizona State wide receiver. Where's he at? They ended up trading to pick up a wide receiver, and there it is, Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver out of Arizona State. So I still feel like they could have gotten a really good defensive tackle at this pick, or maybe at 31st, because they had traded the 31st pick and some other picks to go to 25. So the fact that they gave up like around 3 picks, or almost entirely their whole draft, for a wide receiver that to me is decent in the Pac-12 at best, I think it's a reach, man. I think the Niners reached this time. I mean, it could be a solid move in the future. Like, that's best case scenario. But as of right now, I think they could have gotten way better with the picks that they had. Like, if I was them, I would have picked up the best wide receiver in the draft, where they were at, and then the 31st traded for more picks and then solidified other positions. Unless they feel like their team's already good and they're just trying to, like, get the best players that they can available. Okay, I totally understand that. But these felt like big reaches, man. Just crazy reach. And didn't even feel like they really thought it through. Maybe they were just waiting for this guy to get to them, which they could have still had if they would have just waited at 31st overall. Like, in my opinion, Brandon Ayuk, this guy would have been available at 31. There's no reason to like trade to get him, but I guess they want to just make sure to get him. So I think that was a reach. I think their first pick is a solid, good defensive tackle, pretty scary and athletic, but it's a reach. And this guy, you still would have had him at 31, so I'm gonna say it's a reach. I would categorize Cardinals an A+, Niners a solid B, and they had 2 first-round picks and did basically nothing special with those picks where they could have really taken off. Now, the last but not least, Seattle Seahawks, they ended up getting Jordan Brooks, who, this is an unfair grade. I'm looking at, I think Sports Network is doing this, this whole, grading players. I just feel like at this point, they could have gotten a better linebacker, which was the next pick, which the Baltimore Ravens got Patrick Queen, which he's kind of like a Corey Littleton type of player, good in pass coverage, solid blocker, but he just wasn't nothing special. You know what I mean? Jordan Brooks to me would have been there in the mid-second, and I think for sure the damn Seattle Seahawks were like, okay, we need a linebacker, so let's not overthink this. We'll go get Jordan Brooks, a physical guy. Pretty quick, decent linebacker, right? But like I said, if you're basically drafting this late, you're basically aiming for like solid guys. The kind of superstars aren't there anymore. You want a solid pick. I actually see this guy as a C+. I don't think it's a D+. I was actually expecting them to take one of the best running backs in the draft, because they happen to do that every year, is trying to get a running back or trying to get some type of over athletic like wide receiver or tight end. So I feel like they had more pending needs, and in linebacker they could have picked a solid linebacker like in the 2nd or 3rd round. So I'm gonna say C+ because I like the player, but I don't like it because their needs are the offensive line, man. Like, yeah, they can run the football, but they can't pass protect to save their lives. And there's a lot of good tackles out there still. There's a lot of good guards and centers, and they didn't pick none of them. So, and this is a team that their biggest weakness is pass protection on the offensive line to their franchise quarterback, and they still neglect to get this guy some help. Russell Wilson's always running for his life, and I don't think it's fair. But that is the Seattle Seahawks in a nutshell. That is them in a nutshell, and it's crazy how they basically neglect the whole entire offensive line for the most part. But that's good for us because Aaron Donald gets like 20 sacks every 2 years against the Seattle Seahawks. Now after that, it's basically a lot of nothingness for the division, and I just thought it was kind of interesting that Kansas City Chiefs got Edwards-Helaire, running back at LSU. That's someone that the Rams are linked to, but we're not going to get him. But there's a lot of talent. I feel like there were some reaches in this draft class first round, and which allows a lot more good quality talent to hit the second round, where the Rams will be wheeling and dealing and eating up all this good talent. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a like, leave a share, leave a comment. Until next time, you guys.